Samba na may unting-tingin, Pilipinas ng iparinig, Pag-aralan mo'y sa walang nahanap. Karunungan ay siyang mas mahalaga, ng ibang hinahanap. Lagi mong katulad sa isang kapisilin ay araw na sisitatin. Aking lilipanin, aking papagin, ang bagong pag-asa ay muling tatanawin. Bawat gawain na patuloy ating makakapagdaan, Pustos ang pagsisigaw, patutupan ang pangarap, nagkakawakan ng ating pulos ay tumarang, sipag at lakas ng ating kawan. Labis ng ating paglaban, patunay na iwanan, kailangan mo ay siyang matutupad, matutupad.
Halina't makinig sa akin, tamang kabalaran ang kahihinatnan natin. Bukas sa iyong isipan, tagumpay ng tatahakin. Isang pangarap na lubos, landas na iyong patutunguhan. Pangat na inaasam, di mapipigil ni luman. Maaabot lahat ng iyong inaasam. Kasipagan ng sagot, salat ka man sa kayamanan. Buksan ang pahina ng mga aklat ng karunungan. Edukasyon ating kailangan, kamamangan ating iwanan. Peace!
Aking lilipanin, aking papagin,
Ating tanawin,
bagong pag-asa ay muling tatanawin.
kinabukasan tagumpayin. Pilitin mong gawin,
Pustos ang pagsisigaw,
nasa kanyang kawin.
isang
Edukasyon ang kayamanan ng kahit di naman. Isang pangarap matutupad, magsisigawan ng lahat.
pustos ang pagsisigaw,
Kaya mo yun, kaibigan.
mapupuno isang pangarap.
Isang Pangarap by DepEd. Now, before we start our afternoon session, let's all requesting everyone to please stand for our energizer. Let's have a little group with our Zumba. Sir Ralph? Mag-Zumba daw ta. This shall be led to us by Sir Marino Dal. Ali, Sir Dal. 1, 2, 3, go!
It's a beautiful life. Alright.
Franz Sir Marino Dal. Ali.
Beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine. Hey, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine. Sexy ladies going crazy. Put your hands in the air. We can party, get retarded, acting like we don't care. All my fellas popping bottles. Put your drinks in the sky. Glass is high, feel the vibe. It's a beautiful life. Never stay lonely. It could be forever. Be yourself, go live your life. Come on. Don't you feel lonely? We can stay together. We can spend a wonderful time. Oh, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine. Hey, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine. Watch out,
Hey, yo, Sasha, turn the music up. Let's get this club jumping. It's the anthem time to stand up. Put your hands up and pump it. If you came to have a party, get it started tonight. Feeling right, why you ain't hype? Cause with Big Ali, you live a beautiful life.
Never stay lonely, it could be forever. Be yourself, go live your life.
Live your life, live your life.
Don't you feel lonely? We can stay together. We could spend a wonderful time. Oh, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine. Hey, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine. Hey. You don't have to worry like you did before. I will tell you the truth. All you need is my love and my things to adore. To your eyes and spirit, lets you to see all the beautiful places and things that I made just for you and for me. Yeah.
I need to see your hands in the air right now. Here we go.
Oh, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine.
Let's go.
It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Make a move and make love till the sunshine. Oh, it's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Hey, oh yeah. It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful life. Hey, oh yeah.
Sasha Lopez, Tony T, Big Alley, New York City, baby.
It's a beautiful world and it's a beautiful life. Yes, indeed. O, di ba? Binat-binat gamay. Okay, so this morning we had 3 sessions to talk about PISA, teams, and also the writing, English composition writing for Filipino learners. This afternoon, we're going to continue our discussion with the 4th session entitled Exploratory Study on the Learning Resources and Services of the Alternative Learning System Program. So to give this topic to us, let me call in Dr. Ray Butch D. Mahinay, our supervisor for us.
Thank you so much, Sir Kaloy. Maayong hapon sa tanan. We are on our second day already of the Regional Convergence of Educational Leaders on Curriculum and Instruction, and I am very happy that among the researches to be presented this afternoon is about the alternative learning system. Okay, so maybe request Sir Ralph to please project already on screen the study. Okay, so this study is entitled Exploratory Study on the Learning Resources and Services of the Alternative Learning System Program, and the author of this study is Ms. Pasinia L. Panganiban of the Bureau of Educational Assessment, or BEA, of DepEd Central Office. Next slide, please. In the next slide, you will see the introduction, and it is presenting that one of the research areas of the Basic Education Research Agenda, or BERA, are the critical learning resources and learning services for schools, community learning centers, and other delivery units. This is which are all necessary for the achievement of basic education outcomes, whether formal or alternative education. And the second paragraph is very relatable for us in ALS. Studies on the alternative learning system in the Philippines, in particular, those that are related to the intended learning resources and services for the ALS program, are limited in number and in scope. This is very correct. No, we would like to affirm on this one na medyo gamay pagid kaayo researches conducted about the ALS. On the second slide, on the next slide, it is presented the objectives of this particular study. Number one, this is about the availability of the learning resources for the ALS program. Secondly, the utilization of the ALS programs and services. Thirdly, the best practices of community learning centers. And lastly, recommendations of the study participants to improve the delivery of services and availability of learning resources. In the next slide, We will see the methods employed in this study. So this is an exploratory and multiple case study where it involved a total of 1,444 participants, which is composed of AL supervisors, CLC and school heads, ALS teachers, parents, guardians, LGU officials, NGO representatives, and ALS learners. So they used a researcher-made survey questionnaires, and also interviews were conducted to clarify the vague responses that they gathered in the questionnaire. Okay, in the next slide, we go directly to the findings of the study. By the way, on the on the previous slide, sa Sir Ralph, please, sorry. In the previous slide, I would like to highlight that this study was conducted in 2017 and 2018. So which means this is a study conducted 5 years ago, and in that 5 years, much has already transpired in the alternative learning system. Number one, in 2019 of February, the ALS task force was created. Until just last year, we have already the Bureau of Alternative Education, or the BAE. In 2019, we launched the ALS K to 12 basic education curriculum. So which means to say, dagan findings din na medyo na-address na in 5 years time. But still, it's still good that we go back to the findings of the study and look where we are now in our implementation of the ALS. Next slide, the first finding. It says that learning resources in ALS are available but are not sufficient. It's stated here that although the study participants confirmed that there were learning materials, ICT facilities, community learning centers dedicated for the ALS program, however, they were not enough to accommodate the growing population of the ALS community. In the next slide, it also reported that ALS facilitators are constrained to look for other sources of funds to cover up the gap in resources. So this led for our ALS teachers and school heads to appeal to DepEd and LGUs for additional funds to be appropriated for their community learning centers. Third finding on the next slide, it reported that there are programs needed by the learners but are not offered, like life skills and livelihood program. So in this slide, the author enumerated the different ALS programs before, because we have new set of ALS programs in 2019 and up to the present. In the next slide, again, it reported about the life skills and livelihood program. In the last paragraph, it says that there are programs needed by the learners, and the authors would like to have life skills and again livelihood programs for ALS. On the next slide, finding number 5, some out-of-school youth need to be motivated to enroll, and ALS learners to complete the program because of the challenges met. So it was emphasized in this slide that not all OSYs were encouraged to enroll in the program due to financial constraints, unavailability of time and family problems, and some LGUs are not supportive. In the next slide, for findings number 6, not all CLCs are performing CLC, in which their efficiency is affected, and the best practices of high-performing CLCs can be followed. Okay, so next slide for findings number 7, not okay, I think this is still the same, no? Okay, on the next slide, Sir Ralph. Okay, so the author presented the following conclusion that there are areas of ALS program on its delivery and implementation that require significant attention from DepEd-AL's top-level management. Okay, on the next slide, we have here the recommendations. Number 1, to provide and allocate funds to print sufficient instructional materials and to purchase the necessary ICT facilities and other instructional supplies and materials to DepEd CLCs. Number 2, actively engage the family and the community to support the OSYs to enroll and ALS learners to complete the program. Number three, maximize the use of open educational resources such as the Learning Resources Portal, DepEd Commons, among others. Number four, to establish permanent CLCs in every barangay as claimed by the study participants. Next slide. Number five, to conduct series of training and seminars on the basics of ICT facilities, ALS K-12 basic education curriculum, classroom management, and other related training on personal and professional development, like life skills and livelihood training. Then next, number six, to strengthen the partnerships with the stakeholders to assist the ALS completers and passers in finding blue-collar job with competitive compensation and benefits within their community or locality. The number seven, to strengthen non-formal education after offering ALS program. Number eight, to provide certificate of completion to ALS learners who successfully satisfied the course requirements of the ALS program. In this way, they may inspire other OSY and adult learners to enroll and complete the ALS program. And lastly, to conduct related studies that would focus on factors affecting the implementation of the ALS programs. And the next two slides are the references used by the author. Can we go through, Sir Ralph? Okay, this is the first slide and then the second slide. Now, for this study, next slide, please, Sir Ralph. Okay, I would like to provide some context to Region 10 implementation of the ALS. Um, I was I was not commenting because of course no, this was done in 2017 to 2018 by the author coming from BEA. But I would like also to make comment and to provide context of what we are doing here in ALS Region 10. First recommendation, to provide and allocate funds. So what we are doing in ALS Region 10 is we do annual downloading of ALS program support funds to SDOs. So for 3 years already, we are downloading PSF. At least this would sustain the operation, the programs, activities, and projects of our division level SDO implementation. Number two, to engage the family and community to improve OSY enrollment. So what we did in ALS Region 10, we improve our schedule of activities to give time for community mapping. We learned our lesson 3 years ago when we first implemented the portfolio assessment. In the conduct of portfolio assessment, because there are so many learners, our conduct of the portfolio assessment would sometimes take 2 to 3 months. And in doing so, the community mapping schedule was being compromised. So now we did the quarterly checking of the portfolio. This is the first in the entire country, so that by the fourth quarter, a little time can be done for the portfolio assessment, therefore giving way for more time to do for community mapping. Number three, to maximize the use of open educational resources. In Region 10, our learning activity sheets are actually available in the project innovative online systems, or what we call here the project iOS, which is part of the project Adobe Learning Resources Portal. Our learning activity sheets are complete from learning strand number 1 up to learning strand number 6. And we take pride that we are the first region to have complete materials for the 6 learning strands of the ALS K-12 basic education curriculum. And we also have a complete learning activity sheets for the applied and core subjects for ALS Senior High School, taking pride, of course, of the project that we did in 2018 in the division of Cagayan de Oro City, which we call as the shared option. So we already have a complete learning activity sheets for our ALS Senior High School. Next slide, number 4. Establish permanent CLCs in every barangay. As you know already in your respective divisions, our ALS CLC inventory is ongoing. And part of the ALS Act, which is the RA 11510, it was stated there that in every barangay there should be one CLC. And I believe here in Region 10, we are complying to that one. But then again, we are excited as to the results of our CLC inventory. By the way, our CLC inventory will end this month. So we will be asking our EPSAs to also report to to our SDSS and ASDSS on the number of CLCs that we have in every division. Number five, the conduct of the series of trainings and seminars. In ALS Region 10, we actually do regional mass training of ALS teachers every year. And then, you know this already, the Continuing Professional Learning Course or the CPLC, which we partner with the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines or USTP. And this is actually inked no, through MOA. And this is a 5-year partnership. And therefore, our CPLC will end in 2026. This is very important because, as you know already, 70% of our ALS teachers are graduates of Bachelor of Elementary Education, but they are mandated to handle junior high school sessions. And with that, we see the disconnect of our ALS teachers handling higher level competencies. That's why their enrollment in USTP, wherein they will be trained about the learning competencies for junior high school, so they will be capacitated in effect. Number six, strengthen the partnerships with the stakeholders for the employment of ALS completers and passers. So we admit in ALS Region 10, this is for improvement, but there are already existing partnerships of this kind in some of our SDOs, like in Lanao del Norte, particularly in Kaoswagan district. Their completers are actually catered in this energy power plant and they are being employed there. Also in Malaybalay City, our ALS passers are employed directly in the Dole pineapple plantation. So we have these stories already, but this is something that we can strengthen so all division can follow. On the next slide, number seven, to strengthen the non-formal education after ALS program. This is the recommendation of the study. But in the context of ALS Region 10, we actually integrate skills training during the program. Number eight, to provide a certificate of completion to ALS learners. As far as we know, we are already practicing this ever since. So our ALS learners, as they complete A&E Elementary and A&E Junior High School, they will receive a certificate of completion. And number nine, lastly, is the conduct of studies related to ALS. For this year, calendar year 2023, we will be introducing the ALS research agenda, and then we will be launching the ALS Region 10 journal. So we are happy and proud of the many things that we are doing in ALS Region 10 for the Bay, to say that Region 10 is one of the model regions of ALS implementation. Thank you very much. That is all for this report.
Okay, so thank you for that, Sir Butch. As you can see, there are some progress. We are seeing the national, the national landscape of ALS and also the context here in DepEd Region 10. Thank you for that, Sir Butch. So for further insights that you may have, please, di ba, input na gihap ga distribute gyapon tag template. Okay, please write it down in our template. And now we are down to our last presenter this afternoon. And the topic is on the policy brief. Okay. Action ko balak ka. We are now live. Singo na ginaba sa live, no? To talk about the international large-scale assessments, let me call in Dr. Mary Emerald A. Cabigas. Maglisod, pag ko sa apelido kay Alon Sabi, pag ako masulti, ma'am. Pakpak na to si Ma'am Ems.
Good afternoon, each and everyone. So actually my topic is going to be a conglomerate of all the assessment that was discussed this morning, which is the PISA, the TEAMS, and actually the appeal pod ang CPLM. Okay, Sir Rao, please. So this is policy briefs on ELSA. So this one, as I said, is going to be talking on all of the assessment that was discussed kanina. This is from Armida Celeste. Okay, next slide, please. So how it is going to be presented, a brief introduction, and then the performance indicator based upon the Sustainable Development Goals 4.0, the result of the ELSA cycle, and then the recommendations. So this will be further broken down into three, which is the reading, science, and mathematics. So it will be focused on the subject itself. So kanina, we are focused on the assessment. Here, how we are going to analyze them. Next slide, please. So here we have is the table of the three international large-scale assessment, which is the PISA, CPLM, which is the Southeast Asian Primary Learning Matrix, and the TEAM. So this one focuses on, for PISA, March 2018 result, for CPLM, on February 2019 result, and for TEAMS on March 2019. So who are the students taking this? For PISA, 15 years old, regardless of grade level. So that's why we have grade 8, 9, 10, up until grade 11. We have a student na grade 11 siya at that time. And then for CPLM, which is grade 5 student, regardless of age. Basta kay grade 5, similar to TEAMS, which is grade 4. Okay. For PISA, it is reading, math, science, and global competence, whereas CPLM is reading, writing, math, global citizenship, and for teams, science and mathematics. So what is the common subject there for the three assessment? Math. Okay, math. Okay, next. And the next slide. So what is the sustainable goal 4.1, 4.0? It refers to the educational goal, which aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and to promote learning opportunities for all. So first, free primary and secondary education, and two, equal access to quality pre-primary education. On the next slide, okay, we have 4.1, diba? Free primary and secondary education. So that is the target is by 2030, ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. So the indicator name here is the proportion of children and young people, letter A, in grades 2 or 3, letter B, at the end of the primary, and letter C, at the end of the lower secondary, achieving at least a minimum proficiency level in reading and mathematics by sex. Okay, next slide. So here we have the minimum proficiency levels for the reading domain. Okay, for grade 2, they should read and comprehend most written words, particularly ones, and extract explicit information from sentences. For grade 3, learners read aloud written words accurately and fluently. They understand the overall meaning of sentences and short text. And learners identify the text topic. For 4 and 6, learners interpret and give some explanation about the main and secondary ideas in different types of text. They establish connection between the main ideas on a text and their personal experiences as well as with general knowledge. So this one is the target for the CPLM and the teams. Diba? They are in grade 4 and grade 5. For grade 8 and 9, the learners establish connection between ideas, different text types, and author's intention. They reflect and draw conclusion based on the text. Okay, next slide. So, okay, global minimum proficiency levels for the mathematics domain. So for math, in grade 2 and 3, students demonstrate skills in number sense and computation, and share recognition and spatial orientation. For grade 4 to 6, students demonstrate skills in number sense and computation, basic measurement, reading, interpreting, and constructing graphs, spatial orientation, and number patterns. And for grades 8 and 9, Students demonstrate skills in computation, application problems, matching tables and graphs, and making use of algebraic expressions. So what is the guide questions for this study? First is, were we able to meet the minimum proficiency levels established for each grade level in the domains of reading and mathematics? Okay, second, what does the quantitative data from ELSA say about the learning achievements of Filipino students in grade 4, 5, and 10? And what went well and what did not go well in terms of the overall implementation of the curricular reform? And lastly, the most important one, how can we improve the Philippine performance in the next rounds of ELSA? Okay, next. Okay, sorry. Next, please. Okay, so as I said kanina, this study is broken down into three. So we'll have the reading assessment framework based upon the ELSA. So first is the reading literacy as defined by CPLM, because this one is, if you will remember kanina, for reading, we have the PISA and the CPLM. For the CPLM, as an understanding, using and responding to a variety of written texts to meet personal, societal, economic, and civic needs. It is far more than simply decoding words, reading aloud, or merely knowing words, linguistic structure, and features. It is a fundamental skill that seeks to develop cognitive skills such as locating and interpreting information, as well as the concept of relating knowledge about the world and the text, using the text to develop knowledge of the world. Next slide, please. Okay. The second ELSA in the reading domain is we have the PISA. The PISA defines reading literacy as the ability of the student to understand, use, reflect on, and engage with written text to achieve goals, develop knowledge and potential, and participate in society. It requires learners to demonstrate the competency that will enable them to participate in the real world as continuing learners, workers, or citizens effectively and productively. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have there a side-by-side with PISA and the CPLM. But PISA is assesses key stage 3, and the CPLM assesses the key stage 2. So for PISA, you have there the source, the process, the content, and the context. Sir Ralph, next slide, please. Anyway, we are all familiar with the Bloom's taxonomy. Next slide, please, Sir Ralph. Okay, just a refresher. For lots, it says there, remembering, understanding, applying. For who was, what exactly, when was, and for HATS, we have analyzing, evaluating, and creating. And it deals with explaining or interpreting graph or table and providing instruction based on illustration. Next slide, please, Sir Ralph. Okay, so here is the result for the CPLM. Okay, for the gray shaded graph, that is the average of the other countries, and the blue one represents the Philippines. Okay, you might notice that there are areas nga taas ang Philippines, but actually, this one is positively skewed. It means that we have kanang dagko is a lower level, and so ang atong higher, mas daghan ang other countries compared to ours. Okay, below band 2, we have 27%, but for other countries, 21. So daghan kayo atong scoring sa lower. And then for band 3 and 4, 63%. Ang nakaabot sa band 6 is only 10%, but other countries have 29%. So meaning daghan ang higher score for other countries. So majority of our grade 5 learners can read variety of everyday text fluently and begin to engage with their meaning. Based on SDG 4.1 indicator, it can be deduced that majority or 63% exceeded the lower end direta nag-score og tag-as sa lower end, but did not meet the end of the primary education proficiency level. Ubos. Okay, next slide, please. So learners in grade 5 could read, understand, and extract familiar information from basic text. Learners in grade 4 to 6 are expected to go beyond simple reading and understanding basic text. So they need to demonstrate an understanding of the text with familiar structure and manage competing information when looking for ideas and details. And they should be able to find multiple pieces of related information in text and familiar structure and make connection between details and ideas to draw inferences. They should be able to use clues and explicit information to support inferences even when there is a competing information, and they should be able to identify the most likely causes of events and reaction of characters in narratives where the information is only implied in the text. So, muna siya. Next slides, please. Okay, now we will go to PISA. So, kato siya is from CPLM. Okay. Okay, for PISA, the average for PISA 2018 reading literacy performance, okay, other countries is 487 or proficiency level 3. That is other countries. But according to OECD, task of level 3 requires students to consider variety of factors when comparing, contrasting, or categorizing information. This required information is often not prominent, or there may be considerable amount of competing information. Other obstacles such as ideas that are contrary to expectation or are negatively worded may be present in text at this level. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have there 2 or 487. So readers at level 2. This one is for level 2. Okay, we will go now to Sir Ralph. Next slide. Okay, so here is the result. So the average is 487, and the Philippines there is 340. Yes, below. So most countries are already at level 3, pero at a score of 340, we are now at proficiency level 1. Okay, 1A. Okay. This is one level lower than the OECD average score for reading and literacy. Ubos gid ta. Okay, next slide. So at level 2 proficiency, muna siya ang minimum. Atong average for other countries we have there is 3. Minimum proficiency is 2, but for us, we are at level 1. Okay, so level 2 proficiency unta is that all children should have by the end of secondary school, according to the context of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The Philippines, on the other hand, has an average of 340, again, level 1A. And level 1A students can choose a relevant page from a small set based on simple prompts and locate one or more independent pieces of information within the short text. So for grade 8 and 9, learners establish connection between main ideas on different text types and the author's intention. They reflect and draw conclusion based on the text. So diyan adapit. Okay, now let's go for recommendations for the reading domain. Next slide. Okay, so we should incorporate higher order thinking skills and 21st century assessment into classroom materials and assessment. Balik-balik na gini siya nga recommendations. Learners should be assisted in developing or activating their higher order thinking skills and 21st century skill through classroom activities, instructional materials, and assessment. Classroom activities should not be restrictive, but should instead teach learners how to use or apply these skills in the real world. Second, in terms of classroom-based assessment, learners should be exposed to completion type tests. Where should fill in the blank? Okay. and comprehension questions in order to train and develop in them the HOTS and 21st century skills. So muna ilang recommendations. Moreover, teachers should veer away from knowledge-based questions. Kasi kararabas ato na kay lots gid ang questions. Instead of asking what, when, and where, ask them why and how, and the problems could be solved. Okay. In terms of teacher training, teachers handling reading class should be trained in the current trends in lesson planning, designing relevant and relatable instructional materials, and level appropriate classroom-based assessment aligned with HOTS and the 21st century skills. Next slide. Okay. In terms of instructional materials, according to CPLM 2019 results, learners who have greater access to learning resources outperform those who have less access to the same learning resource. So the more learning resource they can have, the better is their chances. And currently in the Philippines, eight out of every 100 grade 5 share their language textbook with more than 2 other learners. It's not with one other learner, but with 2 other learners. Okay. Hence, the department must allocate adequate budget for the purchase of textbook for grade 5 because CPLM is grade 5, as well as additional reading resources for textbook in order to provide broader range of information sources for teachers to share in class. Next slide, please. For curriculum components, this study recommends that it is necessary to review the curriculum components of the English subject using the ELSA result as baseline. Curriculum crafters and implementers may consider reviewing the curriculum in relation to the following: resources being used or provided, process and manner of implementation, the profile of implementers, and whether the key performance indicator of curricular goals and objectives were met. Next slide, please. Now po a recommendation for remedial or makeup class. Learners who fall behind in the lesson expectation should be assigned to remedial reading classes, what we are doing here now. In this remediation class, learners will be given articles that should aim to expose them to HOTS enriched tasks, such as interpreting a diagram or a map or creating mind maps that will allow learners not just to understand the reading material, but also to draw concept, visually see their level of importance and relation to other concepts. This strategy will also allow learners to see their language journey in reading. But now we are concentrating on how to read itself. Reading pag ito. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, continue the learning action cell as a strategy for continuing professional development for teachers and for educational practice. So we will continue the lab. So assist in education practitioners in improving their teaching strategies and practices by sharing teaching experiences from the professional learning community. Prepare NAT style or ELSA type questions for the LAC session. Proper alignment of classroom-based assessment and subsequent summative assessment is critical for effective learning and assessment quality. And teacher must be trained in the technical aspect of summative assessment, innovation, and practices. Next slide, please. Okay. Enhance the implementation of ECARP or Every Child a Reader program, or the 3Bs initiative, and the no read, no pass policy. Aside from oral reading and fluency, introduce learners to other aspects of reading such as phonetic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, and comprehension. Allow learners to think outside the box and freely explore the real world. Deviate from the traditional way of assessing the reading proficiency of learners. This is the mass, okay, oral reading, and instead conduct a small or more focused groups to discuss and ensure that all learners reading the text correctly and comprehend the meaning of context of the text. So, grabe ka heavy ang mga recommendations. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, we will go to the second aspect, which is mathematics literacy. So, mo to siya ang results reading. Now, let's go to math. Mathematical literacy was defined as the capacity of the learners to apply mathematical knowledge and skills to make well-founded judgment and understand and use mathematics in contexts and ways that meet the needs of individual to become productive citizens. Okay, next slide, please. So since math is present on the 3, okay, so we have here, so PISA, other countries' average score is 489 level 3, but for us, we are 353 or level 1. Okay. For CPLM, other countries band 6 and above, but for us, we are still in band 4 at 288 points. So other countries, sila sa 6 kita 4. Sa PISA, other countries level 3 kita level 1. For teams, okay, average is 500, but for us, slightly above the half of that, which is 297. Pulos tanan, ubos. Okay. Similar po sa atong regional achievement test, ubos gyapon ang math. Okay, next slide. Okay, Filipino students perform below the minimum as was kanina. This raised serious concern about classroom practices, learners' attitude towards learning, and other issues related to teaching and learning. So the second point there is that assessment can be an engine that propels reform forward, but only if education rather than measurement is the driving force. So like what we are doing now, we are analyzing the result of this assessment so we can do better and we are going to improve our current situation. So, hence, this quantitative data would be useless if they were not used appropriately to determine what went wrong or what went well. In the relevant aspect of teaching and learning or in the curricular reform as a whole. I think that statement is the driving force for this research forum or any other assessment that will be used. We will use those results to push us forward. Okay, next slide, Sarah, please. Okay, we will go to recommendation. Mathematics and higher order thinking skills. So, but you know, our student already has a negative connotation with math. If you will say math subject, I think they are thinking this is really their least favorite subjects. So psychologically, murag ubos na gyud. Number 1, most of the existing and utilized classroom assessment warrant the learners to work by procedures. Diba? In fact, our teachers check our student, diba, dapat na siya first procedure, second procedure, third procedure. I remember it well nga. Pag naakay malimtan nga procedure, hinuon mainusan. Okay. So it should not be. Okay. The cognitive demands on assessment are low since it's mainly based on memorizing the procedure. So procedural way of assessment is at the lower end. Okay. 2, hence, contents of assessment tasks should encourage and expose the learners to cognitive activities, not only in the stages of remembering, understanding, and applying, but more so at the stage of analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Next slide. Okay, improving classroom assessment practices. Classroom assessment have a strong positive impact on learners' learning. And when they are well designed, it helps the learners to engage with purpose in the learning process. Okay, actually our assessments should also help the student check their understanding. Okay, it is key to determining what the learners learn, how educators teach, and the necessary intervention or actions are needed. Okay. Sometimes mugod in our setting, murag we use assessment as punishment. Di mo magminaw kay mag-exam ta. Name mo na nun siya negative. But uh, assessment, when properly used, will be good for our student because they now determine what level they are. And thus, it must be restructured in a manner aligned with the goals of the K to 12 curriculum. Next slide, please. Classroom assessment provide evidence of student learning that informs the teacher's instructional decision. Okay? So here, classroom assessment provide evidence of student learning that informs teachers' instructional decision. So if the teacher noticed that very few actually got the lesson, so it is for her to either reteach it and find new strategy. Maybe the current strategy that the teacher is doing is not appropriate, the student is not learning. Okay. Aside from giving teachers information about what the learners know and can do, the teachers, based on assessment result, could plan effective instruction to meet the needs of the learners. And because assessment supports learning and is not the end of learning, okay? This one, assessment supports learning and it is not the end of learning. The assessment tasks are expected to provide opportunities for learners to receive substantial mathematics education. Next slide, please. Another recommendation for collaborative assessment activities, because collaboration is an important skill in the 21st century, whether at home, in school, or at work in the future, mathematics help learners understand the important lesson when they work with others or in teams. The teachers are encouraged to provide team activities where learners could collaborate and combine their knowledge, which eventually would help them discover new ways of approaching and solving problems. The learners need to be exposed to activities like constructing mathematical models, estimation, presentation, and exploration of real-life problems to which they could develop and improve their higher-order thinking skills while working with others. Next slide. Classroom assessment should emphasize 21st century skills like problem solving, critical thinking, and reasoning. So mo to siya, constructing models that link to mathematics in complex situations. Next slide, Sir Ralph. Okay, scoring and feedback. Innovative assessment would require new ways of scoring and new kinds of scoring guides, which would call for new ways of reporting learners' performance that would more precisely reflect the diversity of student learning and performance than a typical number of score that we are being used today. I think this is a bit of a challenge because most of us, dako ang class size. I think that's why we are reverting to the traditional way of scoring. Okay. Since our classroom has a bigger class size, the teacher has to find efficient ways to score. So I think we have problems with that. With other countries, they have lower class size compared to us. Okay. DepEd Order 31 series of 2020 emphasized that assessment and feedback should be shared responsibly among teachers, parents, and learners. We do have the okay. We only share to the parents ang ilara poong mga anak nila na po na to siya, pwede siya tanan. Teachers need to encourage parent participation and coordination with parents constantly to monitor the progress of their learners. Okay, so that is for mathematics. Okay, Sir Ralph, next slide. We now go to science. So we have reading, we have math, we now go to science. Okay, Scientific literacy, as PISA defines it, as the learner's ability to engage with science-related issues and ideas with science as a reflective citizenship. A scientifically literate person is willing to engage in reasoned discourse about science and technology, which requires the competencies to explain phenomena scientifically, evaluate and design scientific inquiry, and interpret data and evidence scientifically. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have the PISA and the teams. So for science, PISA 2018, average again 489, level 3. But for us, we have 357, level 1A. For teams, 500. But for us, average is 249, a little shy of half. Okay, for math. Okay, 500, kita 240. Gamay na lang, matunga na nato, 250. Ang tunga 250, 249 rata. Okay, next slide. Okay. The alarming result of ELSA, dili ra gyud siya naghatag og word nga alarming. Kani siya nga study. In scientific literacy, raised question and concern about the quality rather than quantity of skills and competency that we intend to impart to Filipino learners. Curriculum should help children make deeper and fuller understanding of their own experience. In other words, prioritize what is most important and relevant to students' learning needs. The skills and competency that they really need are and that are applicable to real life scenario. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, di ba? Yesterday, it talks about curriculum decondensation. So here, based upon the result of ELSA for science, we need to decongest the curriculum as one of their recommendations. So one of the roots of unsatisfactory achievement of Filipino learners in ELSA is congested curriculum. So, mura gyapon. Too congested daw. Okay. The teachers are often forced to divert from the prescribed time allotment in the curriculum guide and compress several topics into one class period. This usually happen pag hapit na ang exam, no? Dire-diretso na nila. Okay. Hapit na, wala pa na human. Okay. Okay. As a result, the extent to which the teachers and learner can focus on basic skills becomes limited. Increasing the instructional time, on the other hand, may not be a key step. Diba, I said nga, kulang ra ang time. Pero here it says that increasing instructional time may not be the key step in helping Filipino learners. Okay? Attain functional literacy in science. As evidenced by Team's 2019 result, while the Philippines recorded we are actually highest number of hours devoted to science instruction. Kita daw na mas dako daw ta time compared to other countries. In fact, 158 hours daw a year for grade 4 learners. Still, we obtained one of the lowest average score, which in science. Diba? Bro siya kuan, kita ang pinakadako og time in other countries, yet kita ang pinakagamay og score. Okay, that's why they are saying that we need to decongest daw. We have too much on our plate that we cannot finish it. Okay, next slide, please. Meeting the challenges of attaining functional science literacy. Okay, the recommendation here is to help raise the achievement level and attain functional science literacy of Filipino learners at any level. It is recommended to refine and decongest science and curriculum. It is considered that even in the current curriculum would be decongested, the skills that are in higher proficiency bands of science literacy would still be covered. So they look at our curriculum and they are saying that if i-decongest daw nato atong current curriculum now, The one that is needed in the sustainable goal for scientific literacy would still be covered. Ingana daw kadaghan ang unnecessary. Okay, next slide, Sir Ralph. Okay, so here we have the components of the current science curriculum should be reclustered into fewer learning areas with. So here, number one, better integration of learning competency and topics within and across these learning areas. Okay, so science will be taught also in other learning areas. So, integrate siya with math, integrate siya with English. So, siguro ang selection sa English, science na. Okay? Same with other things. So, to make it more meaningful and to deepen it. Okay, balanced concentration of learning competency that involves tasks of lower level and high level cognitive demands across grade level. Number three, this one, proper sequencing and placement of prerequisites in curriculum guide. Okay? Naa daw time sa atong curriculum is dili proper ang pagka-sequence. Okay? Siguro because we are now on a spiral progression. And number four, more time for the mastery of essential competency and for personal analysis and reflection of the major concept. Okay, not for additional subject matter. That will just overload the learners. So dili na mag-add daw og topic, but we will master what is already what is considered essential. Next slide, Sir Ralph. Okay. Furthermore, in the review of the implemented curriculum published in 2020, the Assessment, Curriculum, and Technology Research Institute recommends the reduction of the amount of learning competencies by the intended curriculum to ensure all learning competency can be taught to the required cognitive depth in the time in the time available in schools. With much time, effort, and resources spent in reviewing and updating the K to 12 curriculum, okay, do we expect to birth a functionally literate Filipino learners in the next 10 years or so? So this remains to be a question until monitoring undertakings are done. The future may hold little promise, the bounteous problem of the Philippines' basic education, and the need to be addressed with the stakeholders' strong commitment and consistent cooperation to pursue science education that is confidence much in there what is hope for us. Okay, that is for the science curriculum. As we know, the trademark of those that is developed country, they have a strong science and math curriculum. They have very strong curriculum for science. It's one of the hallmarks of a developed nation. So, Sir Ralph, in summary, the road to quality education has never been easy, and there is no one-size-fits-all solution. The ELSA results in reading, math, and science will be used as a baseline to further improve the quality of instruction provided to Filipino learners, as well as the components of the curriculum and its delivery system, in order to realign them with the international standards. The DepEd-initiated programs, we have many, will be intensified with a focus on development of higher order thinking skills and their application to classroom-based activities and assessment. More practical activities will be provided to solidify the development and acquisition of skills and competency that can be applied to real-life scenarios. Okay, and with that, thank you very much. So that was a study for Elsa by Armida Celeste.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Ems. For that presentation, murag dako-dako gid siya. As I look at it, murag no, heavy kiba. The real role of leadership in education is not and should not be in command or control, but the real role of leadership is climate control, creating a climate of responsibility. Our dear participants, we are now arrive at the closing program. Humanatanan ang presenters. But again, we would like to remind everyone to please write it down, your comments and insights, so that we can consolidate it and we can do a refinement of our practices. And also, we can throw feedbacks to the central office as to the things that we need to improve on. Ayun. Um, we'll give 5 minutes, ma'am, as a break so that we can prepare for the closing program. 5 minutes lang a break. Coffee break, you can take your son, sanity break and all. Okay, our staff from CLMD will be roaming around to let you sign for the planner that we'll be distributing. There are other 11 planners, additional 11 planners that will be given away to each division. I hope you can give a copy for your AP supervisor, for your MEP, for your ASP, reading, and ELLN, and the 6 others, inyo na siya ng prerogative. Katulang kay gi-prioritize na totong uban kayo under our program. Anyway, there are some 11 mo tuyok ra na. Another announcement is that if you already are done with the katawitang template that we have circulated or given to you, please give it as well to our CLMD staff so we can consolidate that. Another thing is that all the slides that we had since yesterday will be provided to you in a Google Drive. Sir Ralph is right now creating a QR code or a link para usalang kaskan. The online participants and the on-site participants can have a copy immediately on the slides. Fourth is please don't forget to do the Kwame. I hope Quad already have prepared Kwame for the online participants nga dili required tong meals kay para makabuhat sila. And another thing is that tokens will be given to you as well. Kanang gihatag ni Sir Vince. Daghan yung tokens ni panghatag. Happy New Year, good siya. Merry Christmas, Happy Valentine's, Happy Trick. Tanan nga nagyan. Happy birthday pagid na siya. Kwame for day 1 and day 2. Okay, we would like to remind everyone that the link for the materials, for the PowerPoints, and all other things used in the presentation since yesterday will be saved in a drive, and it shall be open until the end of the month. After that, it will be closed. So we would like to request everyone to please download immediately the materials and then maximize it in full potential so that it could help us improve our service delivery to our teachers and to our students. So again, bugat-bugat magudtong usara mga planners if kamo magbitbit, if you have your drivers downstairs, pwede na sila mukuha tagsa-tagsa. You just approach Miss Aya or Sir Edbert para sa mahatag per division. The appearance will be distributed by Sir William. Okay, so this is now the QR code for Kwame for day 1. You can do the scanning. And for our online participants, if you're having trouble dito sa Kwame, especially sa meals, just let us know para mabuhatan na ito pamaagi. Yeah, for the day 2 po, Sir Ralph, na Kwame, pwede na ito mausara. Okay. Sir Ralph, balik sa ta sa day 1. Nga Kwame nga usara. QR. Okay, this is for day 1. Ayaw ipundo lang sa. Please scan it. And that's day 1. Now let's have day 2, Kwame. Mr. Ralph, day 2, na Kwame. Kwame. Kay day 1 rin magpapakot. Issue ng day. Okay, so that's day 1. Now let's have day 2 na ano sa day 2 na Kwame. Ang nasa screen is day 1 pa lang. Ayan, so that's day 2. Wala na lang nabutangan, but that's day 2. Ay, nawa. Yan, day 2. That's day 2 kami. Available na ba nato ang atong QR code for the drive, for the materials? Para ma-show na lang po, para wag tayo utang before they leave, nagis like kopya. Okay, dear participants, once again, we would like to show to you the Kwame link or the QR code for day 2. It's day 2 pa lang. I hope everyone is... Yeah, this is day 2. This is day 2 pa lang, ma'am. Okay na ta sa day 2 tanan. Sir Ralph, pa-review ta balik sa day 1, Sir Ralph. Day 1 nga QR. Day 1 nga Day 1 nga Kwame. Day 1. And another announcement. As of the moment, we can now claim the planner for our ALS. Sir Bush, is implementers lang, apel lang SDS. Apel sila? Apa sila. Okay, so available na po ang planners for all our ALS implementers, and for the planner para sa SDS coming from ALS, iapas lang daw. Ayun, that's from our ALS. Okay, as promised, we're going to provide to you the link for the materials. For the materials na QR. So we can start now the closing program. Okay, so this is now the drive where all the materials from day 1 to day 2, it's a drive where you can access all those materials. For all our own participants, please don't forget to do screenshots para ma-save na to. Again, we would like to remind that this link or this drive will be open until the end of the month. So better download it once you access the drive. So we understand that perhaps in the review of the materials, you would realize siguro you would have another insight. Don't worry, the template as well is saved in this drive, so you can do you can input your your insights and send it as well para dire-diretso siya. Yes, and for those who are done with the insights and the inputs, please give it to anyone, to any personnel of the CLMD. Okay, I guess everyone already have access on the drive. Let us now start the closing program. Every beautiful beginning would always come to an end. But the most important thing is that we have learned and we have enjoyed our journey. Once again, this is now the closing program for the Hybrid Regional Conference of Educational Leaders on Curriculum and Instruction here in DepEd Region 10. To start our closing program, let me request everyone to please stand for the Makabayan song, Prayer and Prayer.
Ang bayan ko'y tanging ikaw, Pilipinas kong mahal, ang puso ko at buhay man sa iyo'y ibibigay. Tungkulin ko at ang tanan na lagi kang paglingkuran. Ang bayan ko'y mabantayan, Pilipinas kong bayan ko'y tanging ikaw. Pilipinas kong mahal, ang puso ko at buhay man sa iyong ibigay. Ako'y nalakamtanan, nanalig ang paglinturan. Ang bayang ay laban-ayang, Pilipinas kong Dear God,
Grabe na. Thank you for that. Let's all be seated. Grabe na kita ka prayerful. Ganina kadaghan na kita mag-pray kay. And this time, to give us impression as to the things that had happened for the past 2 days, let me call in the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent of El Salvador, the person of Sir Junicio Liwagon. Sir Dion?
Isang magandang hapon sa ating lahat. How are you, our dear colleagues? Fine and well. And to all our participants attending virtually, isang magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Kahit na medyo maulan ngayon, subalit let us still celebrate the goodness of life, the goodness of God, and all the opportunities that are provided to us. Allow me to quote Sancho when he said, "In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity." We are manifesting our gratitude and warm congratulations to DepEd Region 10 with a dynamic partnership of RD Art Bayukot and ARD Vic De Gracia Jr. We also would like to give our warmest congratulations to the Curriculum and Learning Management Division with the leadership of Chief Mala Epra Magnaong for organizing this insightful, enriching, informative regional convergence of educational leaders on curriculum and instruction, as well as to the insightful presenters. To the schools division superintendents of the 14 divisions, assistant schools division superintendents, chiefs in the CID, SGOD, as well as our beloved chiefs in the region, thank you very much for organizing this activity. This convergence, similar to that of a regional assembly of education leaders, as we have seen in different regions, RAEL, if we can remember, in the national level, National Assembly of Education Leaders, or NAEL, this activity provides us a wonderful opportunity to first review our practices in the divisions and in the regional level. Second, analyze our strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. Third, we are motivated to sustain our education reform gains, or we have this surge with DepEd and the Australian government. Fourth, we will adopt and implement the necessary curriculum reforms in which the new curriculum will be implemented by 2023. Guided by our regional mantra, let our individual and collective actions truly benefit our learners. To all of you, ang aming mga minamahal na taga-masid sa iba't ibang larangan, sa dibisyon at sa rehiyon, maraming salamat. We wish to have you in person, but then due to some limitations, you're attending. How many are we? We are 141 are attending virtually. Again, let our individual and collective actions truly benefit our learners. the heart of DepEd 10. Maraming salamat at isang magandang hapon sa ating lahat.
So thank you for that, Sir Dion. Lami ikito pagka-istorya ha. And now let's have to give us the message of challenge. Let me call in the brilliant, energetic, and fatherly ARD of DepEd Region 10, Sir, Assistant Regional Director Victor G. De Gracia Jr., Sir.
Thank you, Sir Kaloy, the ever-energetic and lively MC. Maayong hapon sa atong tanan. Although it's a rainy day today, still raining heavily at this time. Pero okay naman yung mga ating mga lugar sa kanya-kanya mga division. Okay. So, together with our beloved Regional Director, Dr. Arturo B. Bayocot, I would like to thank, first of all, our audience here, composed of the Schools Division Superintendents and the Assistant Schools Division Superintendents, with their chiefs of the CID, which is now CTD, and the SGOD, for your presence and active participation in our two-day activity. And to those present virtually, 139 na lang nabawasan yata. Kanina, we got a high number of 254. No? So medyo nawala yung iba. But we'd like to thank you, 140 survivors, 142 na, survivors virtually, no, in the different divisions of Region 10. And of course, congratulations to the CLMD family, palakpakan mo natin, headed by the dynamic and energetic, untiring Chief Ma'am Perry Magnaong. Please stand, Ma'am Perry, to be recognized. I know you have worked so hard. You sleep late at night just to prepare for this together with your dynamic team in the CLMD. Lakpakan din natin yung ating mga supervisors and staff in the CLMD. And thank you to the other chiefs present. Si Sir Roy Evangelista ng Quad, si Sir Ener Ibisa ng HRDD, Sir Alan Mansalades there at the back. Okay, sino pa? Sir Myron Talusig, no, of ESSD. Then kanina si Attorney Shirley Chato ng admin, no? So I'd like to thank them also for their support to this regional convergence of educational leaders on curriculum and teaching. Corrected na tayo, no? Pero it's the same banana. No, sabi nga ni Director Joyce, pangalan lang nag-iba pero still the same. No? Okay. So, as a challenge, kasi talagang I know that the input was very good, no, and helpful to each and everyone. In particular, yung ating introduction to the National Reading Program, no, which will guide each one of us. Kasi kanya-kanya tayong programa in our divisions, di ba? So with the orientation on this National Reading Program by our expert Professor Felicitas Pado, no? At least we are clarified, no, and will be guided in the next steps. Kasi gusto ko itanong, ano na ba nangyari sa inyong reading program na which you trumpeted at the beginning of the school year? Kanya-kanya kayo ng mga pangalan ng inyong reading program, ano? Merong after 1 month, ganito ang mangyayari. After 2 months, merong after 3 months. So now, more than 3 months has passed. Ano na nangyari? Oh, have you checked on the progress of your particular reading programs implemented in your division? Ilan na ba ang natulungan ninyong non-reader? Oh, para maging simple. May 100 o 1,000? Oh, baka nakalimutan nating i-follow up, ano? Kasi dapat hindi lang programa. We should be more focused on the results. Ano na bang resulta, di ba? Oo, kasi pag ganyan mangyari, year in and year out, programa ng programa na lang tayo pero wala namang resulta. No? So with this input from Dr. Pado, we would be strengthened in our program to focus on the learners who really need assistance. Yung mga non-readers and those who are at the frustration level readers. Ano? Dapat yun ang ating consistent focus in our respective divisions. Huwag nating kalimutan. Kasi pag closing, tatanungin na naman tayo, o ano na ba nangyari sa ating mga non-readers? Ilan na ba ang marunong magbasa? Ilan na ba ang nagiging functionally literate? No? Yan ang ating accountability kasi. Ano? So, pag towards the end of the year, wala pa rin tayong masabi, ay, kahit isa, hindi natin masiguro kung natulungan natin to be a functional reader. Naku, we have not done our part. No? We failed. We have done so much activities, but we have accomplished really nothing. No? Kasi the main thing in our job as educators, hindi natin na nagampanan. No? Kasi we always have that temptation to be in the midst of so much activities that we lose focus of the most important things that we need to do. So ito sana. Imagine ngayon ay January na. Ilang months na nakalipas since we started classes in August. No? But the question is, how far have we gone in our thrust to make our learners functionally literate? No? Okay, so kung hindi natin masagot yan ngayon, we still have time, ilang months pa. Tatanungin na naman tayo towards the end. Ano na bang nagawa nyo? No? So, let's go back to our main job. It's okay to have a lot of activities, but they should be supportive of the main job that we should do. Diba? Si Secretary ba naman, very simple lang naman and focused in her questions. No? Kasi hindi siya educator. So sabi niya, ang gusto ko lang naman malaman, paano ba marunong magbasa ang ating mga estudyante. Tapos ang graduate ba natin sa grade 12 ay employable? Yan ang kanyang question. No? Coming from an outsider na hindi educator, coming into our system, yun ang importante na result na kanyang dapat makita. So in our business, nawawala tayo sa focus, pagtatanungin tayo sa accountability na towards the end, baka wala na naman tayong masabi. Sabi naman, failure ang education. So from the lips of our speakers, we have heard na wala namang problema ang curriculum pala natin. No? It's in the practice that is the problem. Yung intended curriculum is very good, but the implemented curriculum is different. Ah, why? Sabi ng ating speaker na si Dr. Aligario, ang curriculum natin ay okay kasi yon ay ano ba, yung ah, it is more empowering to the teachers, to the learners. Ang practice kasi transmissive, hindi transformative. Di ba? Yan ang point niya. So sana naging transformative ang ating curriculum implementation. But the practice is, it's more transmissive. And we are not doing something about it. Talang tinatanggap lang natin yan. So the problem still lingers and is not solved. So para we will do justice to our curriculum, almost 10 years na nating in-implement yan, but the practice is not what is intended to be. No? So malaking challenge yan. Although marami tayong ginagawa, but we are not really doing the right thing. No? So that is the challenge with the inputs coming from the speakers. Sana it will spur us to go back to our first love. Di ba? Yan ang sana sabi. Go to your first love. Yung matulungan ang mga learners, assist those who are having a hard time learning, matulungan ang ating mga teachers to teach effectively. Ito rin ang ang nakikita natin sa pinresent na data ni Sir Marino Dal. Very glaring yung kanina na na reality na ang teachers natin have covered more topics than what was taken up by other countries. Pero ang performance per learning area napakababa. Meaning, nagtuturo naman ang ating mga teachers. Ang problema nga lang, hindi ang estudyante natin hindi natututo sa kanilang tinuturo. So something is wrong. Diba? Turo tayo ng turo. Tapos, wala naman palang absorb ang ating learners. Yan ang reality. So malaking challenge yan sa atin. No? Nagko-connect na kasi yan eh. And, it's really a big challenge, but we can do something about it. That's why I go back to the question posed by Jean, SES Jean Veloso. No? Na meron silang innovation in terms of thing and a summative assessment for Osamis City na gumagamit ng different percentage of hard questions, easy, and moderate. Ano yan? Moderate? Yeah, moderate, easy. Yes, okay yan, Ma'am Jean. No? On the basis that we are empowering the field. Yan naman kasi ang curriculum implementation natin. Hindi tayo top to bottom. Our curriculum is meant to be delivered in a constructivist way, meaning you are grounded, bottoms up. You start from where our teachers and our learners are, di ba? So tinatanong natin sila, pinupuntahan, you go to them and not just always look up and wait for what will be given to us. So let's follow the example of Osamis. Innovating. I know that in the other divisions, you are doing that also. Innovations. And we are happy about it. If you are innovating, meaning you are not just waiting for the higher up to to order you to do something. But in your level, you can do things, no? You can make things happen because you know your particular situation. Yan ang maganda sa constructivist way of delivering our curriculum. Because you deliver it taking into consideration the peculiarities of your situation. Mas alam nyo kasi ang inyong sitwasyon. So, you are in the best position to implement the program as effectively as possible in your area. No? So, you're on the right track, Ma'am Jean. And that's an encouragement for everybody to do the same also. Do not be afraid to do something new in your respective area. Ang ating consideration lang when we do something new in our area is the question should be, is it beneficial to our learners? Yun lang. Pag gumawa naman kasi tayo ng something na medyo dihado ang learners, yun ang problema. But if we do things, innovations, to help our learners and teachers, that's okay. No problem with that. Okay? So let's take away the fear from our hearts of doing something different. No? Kasi it's also the essence of how our curriculum should be implemented. No, hindi siya top to bottom, but it should be bottoms up. Yan ang constructivist way. And importante dito is how do we mentor our teachers? Kasi the key player here in achieving our goals is our teacher. Kasi kahit anong sasabihin natin, pag hindi gumalaw ng tama ang teacher, wala rin. Wala rin tayong magawa kasi sila nang sa classroom. Tayo sa labas. Di ba? If we cannot transform the classroom situation by guiding our teachers there, then all these inputs that we are receiving will come to naught. Wala talaga. Wa effect, no? Oo. So, dapat our initiative should translate to the classroom. Anong epekto ba nito sa ating mga teachers? No? Will their thinking be parang paradigm shift ba ang mangyayari sa kanila? Magiging iba ang pananaw in teaching? Yung mga transmissive teachers natin, ang style nila in teaching, will they be shifting to a constructivist way of teaching? Kaya kanina, I appreciate yung session kaninang umaga. Kasi ang mga SDSS natin, and ASDSS, were so open to give their input, ideas. And I made it a point na hindi ako magsalita. Kasi I'll give opportunity for the participants to speak. Kaya hindi talaga ako nagsalita kanina, di ba? But I listened. But I am happy seeing that you are spontaneously participating in the discussion. Kaya maraming mga new ideas na lumabas, di ba? And that's the way to manage the class. Ang teacher kasi should encourage the students to participate, to recite, di ba? Yung siya lang yung nagsalita. Oo. Ang transmissive teacher kasi, siya lang yung nagsasalita. But the constructivist teacher guides and allows the learners to speak. No? Oo. So, ganon ang setting. Kanina, I saw it And I'm happy, no, that everybody is more or less participating as time will allow, no? Oh, and maraming ideas na lumabas, di ba? Yung initiatives ng Osamis, yung sa Malay-Balay, yung sa Tanggob, no? Na experience, and the others pa, yung sa Lanao del Norte. Oo, kung hindi kayo nagsalita, hindi namin nalaman yon, di ba? So that's the importance of giving your idea, no? Of speaking and sharing. Oo. Kasi tayo is we need to share our experiences lalo na pag with the teachers kasi andragogy naman ang style ng meeting natin pag with the teachers. So we listen more on experiences, no? And the one managing the program only facilitates, guides, but does more of listening. Okay? So, challenge sa atin when we go back, how do we apply what we have learned? And please guide our teachers in the classroom. Find means, no? How to guide them. Oo, kung may problema tayo sa alam ko may fear kasi na-experience ko talaga ito na yung PSDS and yung supervisors ay bawal magpasok sa classroom, which is wrong, no? Kasi you can always visit the classroom kasi pwede kang mag-validate. Oo. Ah, hindi mag-rate, pero mag-validate kung ang ginagawa ba ng teacher in accordance sa ating dapat mangyari in teaching. Oo. Yan ang isang bagay na talagang nagpipigil sa atin to guide our teachers. So innovate. You can do things in your division. You can find means, no? And basta nandyan ang desire mo to help our teachers, then kasi kung hindi ka makikialam sa teacher, walang mangyayari talaga. No? Because how can we guide them kung wala naman tayo dyan? O, saan mo siya i-guide? Sa virtual? You can only guide if you are with them. Di ba? Oo. Yan ay research-based kasi si King ang nagsabi niyan that teachers should be a guide on the side and not a sage on the stage. So tayo, hindi lang dito sa salita lang, but we have to be with them. So your challenge is find means to guide them. Don't have that fear na huwag ka nang lumapit sa kanila. Hindi naman yun tama. No? Find means. And I know with your commitment and your desire to help them and eventually help our learners, we can accomplish our vision, our objective. No? Malalaman natin kung ilan talagang non-readers ang na-save natin. Diba? I hope I can hear towards the end of the school year, may number talaga kayo masasabi na I have assisted 100 non-readers naging reader. O baka yung ibang division, 1,000. O baka all. Sana may isang division makasabi, wala akong non-reader. Yeah. Yun ang pinaka-desired natin na resulta na mangyayari, which our secretary will be so happy to hear. Oo. Sana all ng division makasabi na wala na akong non-reader. Kaya niyo ba yan? Audience sa ating virtual audience, kaya nyo ba yan? Hindi yan imposible. If everybody works towards it. Kaya importante, we have to be with our teachers. Kasi sila talaga ang key dyan. We have to guide them, no? To deliver our desired objective to make our learners, all our learners, functionally literate. Okay? Big challenge, but it's not impossible if we do this collectively. It's one, di ba? Nandiyan naman sa policy natin. It's teacher is a reading teacher, is a mathematics teacher, ngayon is a science teacher na rin. Integrated kasi. And that's part of constructivism. Integrated way of seeing things and doing things. No? Hindi dapat parang kanya-kanya ba? We do it collectively. Okay? And we can achieve results. We can do it. We just focus. Di ba? And do, and in spite of the many activities, let's not lose our focus. So that at the end, we can say we have achieved and we have done our part. Okay? God bless. Thank you very much.
So thank you for that. ARD Vic, please stay in front para po sa distribution of certificate together with Ma'am Perry Magnaong. So totoo naman po, today is not the end but the start of something new to find ways and means to help our teachers and our learners. Let's transform all this talk to performance through cohesive action towards change. So this time around, let's do the distribution of certificates to the different functional divisions. Aw! Nahatag na di ay. Ja. Congratulations, everyone! Ha? Yes, sir. So this time around, let's have the closing remarks and then we'll proceed to the final round na yun nga maghatag na saling. Let me call in the chief of the CLMD, Ma'am Malaepara B. Magnaong.
Na sobra ang hatag at tanan, gihatag ang certificate. And lagi, sige, panigugid na nga naagay ko kay igon na ba to ni RD nga, RD, we only have a lunch and 2 snacks. Pasagdi na silang mga third level official kay tag-iya na sila sa finance division. Okay, so importante nang say din na nga naa sa folder. Okay. For 2 days, our task is to identify issues. For 2 days, our task is to look for innovations. And I believe for 2 days, we were able to get those issues. We were able to grasp those issues. Dr. Pado emphasized to us the importance of reading, right? And Dr. Pado even presented to us on how to deliver teaching reading. And I'm happy that while I was at the back, at first I was telling myself, may interest ka na sila kay for content ang gihatag, no? But I'm happy looking at you that you keep on getting shots of the presentations. Pasagdan lang muna mo, though we have to give you the file. Because we want like to, what is that, to, parang you have that feeling that you need the thing. So, nagpicture ka. So, I'm happy that you're so interested of the topic of Dr. Pado. Another speaker emphasized to us that, pero it's from the BEDP 2030. I still remember sabi ni Dr. Eligario, sa BEDP 2030, it revealed that we have high cognitive demand for learners, the K-12 curriculum, but we have weak pedagogical skills of teachers for addressing the 21st century. Dili na linya ni Dr. Eligario, that's from DepEd. If you can still remember the presentation of the BEDP 2030, and I got that one when Director Masapol presented it to us. And it's consistent. with this morning presentation na according pa ni Sir Ed, magkasakit mo na itong dughan mo tanaw na mabibra sa tanan? Really? Because the key issue there is, parang there is deterioration of our learning. There is deterioration. If you're going to look at the data, sobra ta sa katunga sa mga international average, and we're at the bottom. But then, sabi ni Sir, we can do it. Teachers, Filipino specialists are very resilient. And I think, if you can still remember the statement of itong gihatag ni Dr. Ani Sir R.D. kahapon, katong 8, the title ito niya, and there is that, the nuggets of wisdom na we have to walk together for us to achieve that goal. And we have to take into consideration na, sabi ni the Professor Oligario, teachers are not only of the variables that need to be changed in order to improve their education system. Di lang sila variable, one of the variables, pero sila ang the most significant change agents in this reform. So therefore, if we're going to go back to our respective station, I think we have to bring those things. Paano si reading and paano our teachers to become the most significant change agents. So when we had our discussion this morning, we were able to get the idea na, Ma'am Becky, nag-ponder gid siya, ganun siya. The most important thing is how to create or make these teachers into very good test constructor. The skill of making the assessment is very important. Sa yun kayo siya tanaw ng PISA. Kinsa nakatanaw gid sa PISA? Sa yun siya basahon. It's about chicken. But if you're going to look at the way those questions being constructed, oh my God. Si Ma'am Cherry, yun, nag-attempt ko siya, galisod siya answer. Appear si Sir Carlos. So see, it's easy to pero the question is, how are we going to do it that we can change our teachers to become skillful in doing test construction and make it a PISA-like or TEAMS-like assessment? So, again, let me go back to the statement of R.D. Vic. Walang imposible. We can still do it, especially if you have to do it together. So, my dear colleagues in the department, the advancing world really means change of development, but with that, there are a lot of reforms, adjustments that we have to make. And we at the curriculum and instruction, we have also to ponder, study everything that we have discussed, and try to see how we're going to incorporate that one in our regional education development plan and as well to you. I think the oras atong ilito ng atong DEDP and incorporate with that is as well as the budget preparation. Kaya we our WAP, pero maruga pa man assign ni RD, because sila just, no? The work and financial plan and include our plan so that we can incorporate what we discussed here and bring it to the black and white situation. Ibutang gid sa imong OPCRF, ICPCRF, the work and financial plan, and DEDP, REDP. Yeah. Tanan siya ibutang dito. So, that's it. And Director, as my team of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Education Supervisor in the regional office, we are so happy with your presence today, and thank you very much for staying for 2 days, joining the convergence of the educational leaders and talking about for 2 days curriculum and instruction. Thank you very much, and we hope that we can have another round of this, and the next time, dili na deterioration atong nakita, no? It's all already the beautiful colors in the implementation of the curriculum and instructions. So once again, a pleasant afternoon to everybody, and please have a nice, safe trip to everybody.
And that's the hybrid regional convergence for educational leaders on curriculum and instruction. Once again, daghang salamat and enjoy your way back home. Keep safe, everyone. And this has been Carlos Villamas, a third-year host, now signing off. The chat room sa Perfect 10, also sa GC sa mga chief, and also all the regional supervisors will be posting it in our own respective GCs para masundan sa tanan. Please don't forget to bring all your freebies. Freebies yun ang tawag. Yeah, the freebies. The planners. Daghang salamat mga igsuon, the plaque, the tokens, and the memories you've gained from this. To our online participants,